Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Goodland, the land where everything is good, because what is better than hanging out with two best friends? My name is Norrin, and I am one of those best friends.
And I'm the other. I'm Michael.
Well, you might notice that things look a little different. For starters, I'm on the left now instead of the right where I usually am. So, um,
It's a little bit off this week, huh?
we have had an incredible amount of technical difficulties trying to get this episode started. In fact, this is the second time we've started recording, and probably the fourth or fifth that we've attempted to start the show just this week. So things have
We've
gone,
had to work for it.
yeah, things have been a little interesting. So hopefully this works. We have switched away from Zoom for this episode, and Discord has become our savior. So hopefully Discord can keep up with all the rootin' tootin' good times that we're about to get into here this week. Um, Hopefully Discord has what it takes to keep up with us. Um, Also, you can see we've got a wider view of my room than usual, um, which is I feel a little exposed. There's more of me available to the eye, you know? So it's interesting.
True. At least you enjoy showing off some of the things in there. You've got some nice posters and
That's true. I am pretty proud of everything. I am. And also, all this technical difficulties have given my lava lamp time to get started. So maybe uh, by the end of this episode, we'll actually get to see some lava lamping. So stay
we'll
tuned.
have to follow up with that, huh?
Yeah, stay tuned for that bit of exciting information. Um, so, Michael, I know that you already have, but tell me about your week, please. And maybe this time we can actually record you telling me about it.
Yeah, I'll go through. My week's been, again, school and work, but this week I've had a lot of family members drop on by, just kind of spur the moment. Um, my brother's been here in the town over here for work, and then I had some other family members come visit, so it's just been super busy. Really nice to see family members, but it's all very impromptu, so a little bit chaotic, but in the end, a good thing. It's been a while since I've seen some of them, so.
That's good. That's good. Um, yeah, it's you could definitely tell we've been busy since we took a week off. And then this is coming out hopefully just one day late. We'll see. I don't want to jinx it. Hopefully it'll just come out one day late. But yeah, things definitely have been busy. And I mean, for me, it's pretty much just been the same, just work. But it's definitely good that you're getting to see your family again. I know that you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere now, so
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit out further than normal, that's for sure.
um, this week, Michael, I went and I saw some comedy shows uh, performed
Oh,
by a
really?
yeah by a mutual acquaintance of ours, one Eric Doan. Um, he was taking some classes. He was in an improv comedy class and he was in a stand-up comedy class. And this past weekend, they had their like performance for like the end of the class. And so I went and saw Eric do an improv comedy class with his group, and I saw him do stand-up. And let me just tell you that Eric's stand-up comedy performance that he did was killer. He was by far the best performer there, and
Man,
I was busting up laughing the whole time. He was hilarious. So I was super proud of him.
I
I
mean,
thought
that's
he did great.
that's definitely something that he would take to heart. Like, that is definitely Eric's personality for
Yeah, for
sure.
sure. And
So that's really cool that he's been able to use that.
yeah, I was super proud of him for going out and giving it a shot because it's stand-up comedy is something that he's always like been interested in pursuing. Um, so the fact that he actually like got the courage to go out and try it, I was super proud of him. Um, I thought I thought he did great, so I was really happy to to know that he was out there doing something um, something constructive and something that following his dream like that.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Is he, so is this part of just like a course of the course over, or does he like get to keep doing it?
So these, I believe, were like the level one courses, and so I think he'll be
Mm,
able to go forward and sign up for the higher level ones too. Um, but let's see if I can turn this into a segue. Stand-up comedy. A lot of people have really strong opinions about comedy, what they think is funny, who
that
they
is
think is
true.
funny, and a lot of these can oftentimes be considered hot takes. And speaking of hot takes, that's what we're going to dive into this week
Speaking of
on
that,
Goodland. Um, this was a really fun episode to put
hot take,
together.
was that a good transition?
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. Give us your hot take on whether or not that was a natural seeming segue into this next section. um, this was a super fun episode to put together because we didn't have to do as much work as we usually did because we reached out to you, the audience, to get some of your hot takes. I tweeted out on Twitter. I put up an Instagram story. I even uploaded to our TikTok page. There is now a TikTok with me just speaking to the TikTok verse, which I kind of thought I would never do, but here we are. And I asked for hot takes, and boy, did I get some. And Michael, you asked your family members for some as well. And so we have gathered some hot
Yeah, I've
takes.
been asking everyone.
Yeah, exactly. We've been gathering from people we know, people we don't know, um, and we are super excited to debate these hot takes. Um, you know, we have a lot of experience in this regard. We think that after the WikiHows and after the "Am I the A-hole" Reddit posts, we've essentially become experts in determining whether someone is right or wrong. So that is what we're going to dive into again this week on Goodland. But with your hot takes from you, we're going to let you know if your hot take is right or if it is wrong. So I guess shall I start? I have a long list based on ones that I've collected from our various social medias.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we both have very good good length of list. Let's start. Let's see
Okay.
what you have.
Yeah, so this first one comes to us from Twitter, from Twitter user at KuzcoSucks, which, if you've been paying attention, that's Parker who wrote our theme song. So thank you, Parker, KuzcoBeats at KuzcoSucks on Twitter. Check him out because he makes glorious little beats for your ears to feast on.
He does. He's been putting out some new stuff.
So yeah, so please check him out. But Parker says ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise are menaces to society. He says he's not afraid to say it.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
What's your gut reaction to this?
Man, I mean, let's hear it again.
Direct quote: ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise are menaces to society.
Dang. I don't know. You may my first take is like, man, what did these condiments do to our friend here?
Who hurt
What is
you?
what has prompted this? Because I have, I would probably say all good experiences.
Yeah.
Like I've
What
learned to
what
make
Burger
mayo
King
from
drive-through did you
scratch.
go through that hurt you so bad?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I I love the condiments, at least me personally. So that is certainly a hot take. I feel like there could be quite a good amount of debate about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely am. I am pro condiment. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of mayonnaise, but even though I don't like it that much, I think it's essential. Like just for the fact of like for the purpose of lubricating your sandwiches, I think it is
Oh, that
necessary.
was like the worst way to say that. I think that's why people don't like condiments.
but seriously though, like a sandwich without mayo is just so dry. Like I don't like mayonnaise that much, but I it is a
Yeah,
necessity to put on top of sandwiches. Even though I don't like it, it just enhances the sandwich consuming experience. I can't imagine life without them. I also love ketchup. I put ketchup on a lot of
that's a
things.
that's a good point. See, I was saying like Kels and I like we make our own mayo and we do it with like the traditional mayo recipe. And man, that is like night and day from like Miracle Whip or anything
I
like
was just
that. And
gonna
that's
ask, are you a Miracle Whip or a Mayo man? If you've got to go store bought.
I was gonna say it is night and day from both of those. So like I definitely appreciate it and enjoy it. So I can't even imagine like you said, some meals just need it like French fries. They're not quite the same without a sauce. So see, I'm interested. I want to know what Parker thinks of all sauces,
Well,
you know?
yeah, I'm curious what Parker says too, but this is a good segue. So another one I have from Twitter from at it's just Asa. Um, basically, take it's just Asa takes Parker's a little further and says condiments aren't always necessary. If condiments are necessary, you've been spoiled with either really good condiments or unlucky enough to have bad food in front of you.
Oh, see, that's a good point. There have been many a times where I've had to drown not too good fries in condiments.
Yeah.
Or like a not too tasty sandwich. Definitely, definitely understand that. So yeah, but I mean, I have to say there are some good condiments out there.
Oh,
There are
yeah.
some places, some restaurants like Chick-fil-A sauce is one that comes to mind. I like Chick-fil-A sauce.
Red
Love
Robin's campfire
Cane's.
sauce.
Yeah, Red Robin's campfire. There's some real good sauces out there.
I will say,
So yeah,
bottled campfire sauce does not taste at all like it does at the restaurant. Like you can get Red Robin campfire sauce in bottles at Walmart, and
mm,
it just pales in comparison. It is not the same sauce recipe.
dang. That actually leads pretty good to one of my hot
Okay,
takes
yeah, let's hear it.
here. So this one says that soda fountain drinks that you'd get like at McDonald's or anywhere are superior to canned soda or bottled soda.
Ooh, interesting. Who submitted that one?
That this one is anonymous.
Ooh, okay.
I took a lot of mine anonymously.
Nice. I like
So
it. A little bit of mystery on
I
the
knew
show.
some could end up in some shade. So
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, we definitely want to protect that, don't we? Um, yeah, no, that's a
yeah,
good one.
so this is it.
I know that like universally, like people revere McDonald's Sprite specifically. It's like kind of
Yeah,
all
that
over the
that is one
internet.
of the key examples.
What do you personally feel about the difference between canned and fountain?
I didn't even like think about it. This didn't even cross my mind until they said this. And right away I was like, you know what? I think you might be right. Like, and maybe that's just because it's usually coupled with something.
Mm.
Maybe there's some other factors influencing this, but I personally, if I could choose between canned soda and like a nice glass bottle will always be my number one choice. So I agree that there is some little bit of a difference. So I think I might agree.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree as well. I think that a fountain soda experience is going to be less consistent than a than a canned soda. So fountain is going to be less
Well, that's a
consistent
good point.
than can because with fountain, you're dependent on the level of syrup that is left in the pouch at the time that you pour it. With a can, you're going to get pretty much the same thing every time unless it's been sitting there for years and becomes flat. But I think that you hook up a fresh bag to your fountain, and that's going to be like some of the best sodas you ever tasted. But if you let it go for a while and that bag starts to run out, then it's not going to be near as good. So it's less consistent, but I think the high is better than the high of the can.
Has greater potential.
Yeah, I think
That
that's
makes
my
sense.
official stance on it. But I think I'm with you. I think glass bottle is the top. And you pull a glass bottle right out of the fridge so it's nice and ice cold. That's where it's at.
Hmm. Yeah.
I love soda. I it's like almost unhealthy. Like when I was working at the movie theater, I got I got a medium soda for 50 cents, which was like this big, so like more than enough. It's like two people's worth of soda
It's quite a lot.
for 50 cents. So I got one every day on break. So I was drinking soda, a massive cup of soda every day, and I just got hooked. And so I've tried to cut back on my soda consumption pretty considerably, but it is so hard because I love soda so much.
See, it's been quite a while since I've had soda, so
What's your
I
go-to?
definitely, man, like I was just gonna say Coke is just so good. That's one of my favorite drinks.
Me
Just
too.
like a nice cold Coke is just the absolute best.
Do you remember when we were at Disneyland and I made us stop at a Wetzel's Pretzels just so I could get a Coke?
Yes.
Do you remember that? The
I
people at Wetzel's
do.
Pretzels were very confused as I walked in and
Yeah,
stood
they're
in
like,
line
what?
and said, "Can I get a Coke?" And they were like, "Yeah, do you want a pretzel?" And I was like, "No,
Nah.
just the soda."
That was a good
Speaking,
one. Man, I completely forgot about that.
that was good times. And it is a great segue into another hot take that I have. This hot take is by at Harley Mouse on
Okay.
TikTok. And she says Disney World and Disneyland are revolutionary theme parks and shouldn't even be considered theme parks because they raise the bar so high.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's your theme park level of experience? How many like amusement parks have you attended?
Yeah, see, that's the thing is I haven't been to nearly as many as I think you have because I've been to like some smaller ones and I've been to Lagoon and Disneyland. I've been to Disneyland a couple times. So,
We
but
also went to
really that's
Silverwood.
about that's true. That's
We
kind
went
of
we
a
went cross
smaller
country.
one.
Yeah.
I was kind of yeah. So definitely definitely some, but not too much. You've been to like a couple others though, right?
Yeah. I've been to Lagoon and Silverwood and Disneyland. Obviously, we went to those together on all those
Yeah,
trips
true.
we
We've been to
attended
those
together.
together, but you've been with some family and stuff too,
I've
huh?
also been to Disney World and I've been to Universal Studios, both of those in Florida. After I graduated high school, after senior year that summer, my family took a trip to Florida and we went to Disney World and Universal Studios. And I will say, just the difference between Disney World and Universal Studios Florida, they are on completely different levels. Uh, Disney World is four different parks in one, and each one of them is like as big as as Universal Studios, except for Harry Potter World. Harry Potter World within Universal Studios is like an entirely different park than the rest of Universal Studios. It's insane, and I would say
Okay.
Harry Potter World is like Disneyland level of awesome. Just the attention to detail and everything, it feels very Disneyland. But I think that's what sets
Dang.
those apart. Those parks apart from the rest of everything else is the theming on them and how intensely they go for that theming. Like it definitely feels like you're stepping into another world when you go to those parks. It just feels so much different from anything else that I've seen anywhere. And personally, I'm a big fan of that because I think anyone that knows me as a person knows that I love nostalgia and escapism. I pretty much um,
Those
uh,
are all good things.
yeah, I adore stories and games that let me feel like I'm somewhere else doing something more exciting than being a bank teller. So being able to actually physically visit a place that makes me feel that way is super cool. So I definitely welcome to our like sponsored Disney World section of the podcast, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Um, I didn't mean to just become a total shill for the brand here, but like, check it out because it's fun.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I definitely do enjoy like Disneyland. At least I think there's probably like a difference between like theme parks where it like focuses on a theme and amusement parks. Because amusement parks are nice. They have like roller coaster. I'd probably say like Silverwood. That's a fun amusement park, and even like Lagoon. I'd say that's probably, at least in my mind, I'd say that's like an amusement park. Whereas Disneyland, that's a theme. That has that sort of escapism aspect to it, and I really enjoy that. I'm really looking forward to the day when I'm able to take a trip down to whether it's Universal Studios or Disney World. Like, I really look forward to. So I'd say I would think that I would agree, they're probably different things entirely.
Yeah, that's a good point. That distinction between theme park and amusement park that feels pretty important in this discussion. I think they set out to do different goals, right? Like like the goal of Lagoon is different than the goal of Disney World. They're trying to accomplish different
Yeah,
things. Um, I think obviously like the rides at a place like Lagoon are going to be more thrilling than the rides at Disney
yeah, it,
World.
it focuses more on that for sure. But can I build a lightsaber at Lagoon?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. And that's like I think that's exactly it. Like they are on a different level because they are doing different different things. They have different goals in mind.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right.
That's a good one. I like that one.
What's our next hot take, Michael?
This one is saying that trailers before the movie are just as important as the movie, just as fun.
I see. I like this one a lot, and I am very inclined to agree. I always get to a
Yeah,
movie.
I would say you're a connoisseur of movies.
I like to think of myself as such. Working at the movie theater back when I was doing that definitely allowed that to happen a lot more because I could go for free. Um, but I definitely consider myself to be one. And as a creative writing major and someone who hopes to one day write films, hopefully, I definitely like to pay attention to that. But I always get to a movie as best as I can. I try to get to a movie 15 minutes before the show starts, and that means 15 minutes before the trailers start. I like to be very early to movies, and I know that not everyone shares that sentiment. I know a lot of people who are like the movie starts at 7 so we don't have to get there until 7:30 because we can skip out on the
Yeah,
trailers.
true.
And that bugs the ever living heck out of me. I cannot stand getting to a movie that late. I've
Yeah,
got to be
I
there
I
early.
certainly agree.
Yeah, so you're into trailers as well? You're on that same side of the fence?
Yeah, I love movie trailers. It's super fun, but I know that there really is that duality because some people are always like, oh, well, we can skip the trailers, just like you were saying, we don't need to arrive there on time because it's just trailers. But for me, it's like, man, I don't want to miss that. Like, those are always super fun. Just like even if it's a trailer I've seen before, there's something really nice about watching it on the big screen like that. It's just even more exciting. It's like I remember growing up, we'd go watch like the Avengers, or some Marvel movie, and then we'd watch other Marvel trailers as part of it, and we just would get even more excited. So I can't imagine like not having trailers.
How does your wife feel about movie trailers? Like, do you guys have the same mindset when it comes to arriving to movies to watch trailers?
Um, Honestly, we haven't been to a movie in a long time.
Well, I feel like most
Um,
people haven't been for a while because of recent events, but
oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, man, I can't even think what the last movie we went to like in person. Um, Actually, I mean, we do. Like she likes watching them. Like we like watching the trailers. We actually went to a drive-in theater. Like I think just last week. Not technically like a full movie theater experience, but they had trailers and we both enjoy watching them and seeing what's new. Because sometimes, especially like in our busy lives, we don't know what movies are coming out. So it's sometimes nice to watch them and be like, "Oh, hey, that looks pretty good."
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think like I try and stay pretty on top of movies that are coming out. I think that like Twitter really helps me do that. I try and stay really tuned in to the entertainment side of the internet. Um, but I'm still surprised when I go to a movie theater and see a trailer for a movie that I didn't even know existed. I think that's because the trailers that I
Yeah.
tend to follow and get shown on Twitter are ones that cater more toward my tastes. Like I definitely get comic book movies and like monster movies and stuff like that. Those are the trailers I see more often. Um, but there are definitely times where I go and like it's a movie that I have never heard of before because it's not necessarily in my top three categories of films I would go
Hmm.
watch. But I
Yeah,
love
that
doing
was
it.
yeah, we watched a movie and there was a trailer for Lin-Manuel Miranda's new movie.
Yeah.
Um, Something about like In the Heights or along those lines. But I didn't even know that was coming out. I didn't even know he was working on a movie. So seeing that trailer, both of us were like, "Hey, that looks pretty good." Like, and thankfully, thanks to those trailers, I've got a new movie to look forward to. So,
Out of the movies that you know are coming out, what are you most hyped for?
oh man, see, that's the thing. I don't know what movies are coming out right now.
I think for me, it's Spider-Man, No Way Home. I think is what it's
Yeah,
called.
I have. Uh, I've seen quite a few things on that because they were even like joking around between different titles of the movie. So
Yeah,
that's gonna be exciting, no
either
matter
that
what.
Spider-Man one or Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. That one looks like it's going to be pretty awesome as well. Oh man,
We've got some
speaking
good
of
movies.
Marvel, Loki just came out today. The first episode of Loki.
Oh, okay,
I haven't watched it
not
yet.
bad.
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to as soon as we wrap up here. I'm gonna go watch Loki, and then we'll have to talk about it next week
Okay,
because
perfect. Yeah, I'll try and catch up.
it seems it's yeah. First episode came out today, so it definitely looks pretty cool. Well, that was good. Let's do another one here. At Andrew Shank on Twitter says, "I hate bathtubs. Maybe it's just because I'm tall and I haven't fit in one in 10 years, but they're just too hot and terrible, and you just take a shower after anyway, so just take a shower." I
Mm.
I think the idea of taking a shower after a bath is interesting. I almost wonder that might apply more to like hot tubs than just actual bathtubs, but that is a sentiment that I share. As a tall person, I'm not a big fan of taking baths because they're I'm too big for the bathtub most of the time, so it's not very comfy. I have to choose whether I want my knees to be warm or whether I want my nipples to be warm because I can't have both in the water at the same time because I'm too long. So it is
Yeah,
just an
well,
experience that is not super pleasurable to
see,
me.
I'm not even like that tall. Yeah, I'm not even that tall, and I certainly agree with that. Like, I feel like whoever designs bathtub is just missing the mark. Like, if you're going to make a tub, make make it big enough for people to fit in.
Also, like a tub is just not a comfortable thing to sit in. Like it's all hard and like angular. Like it's not conducive to body shape. So it's not comfortable to sit in for a long period of
Yeah,
time.
yeah, I agree. I think, maybe like 5 years ago, I would have disagreed with Andrew because, you know, bats, you know, it's still kind of nice, but they're just not comfortable. That like you said, they're just not as comfortable, as we'd like to think.
Yeah, and I just like everything about a bath to me just seems like a little off. Like for one, like if I'm getting in a bath to to get clean, everything I wash off of me is just in the water, so I'm just floating in this like filth soup that I've created for myself. I'm just like
Hmm.
marinating in in myself, and that's not super pleasant to think about. And there's not a
Yeah,
lot
and
to
I think that's why Andrew showers like
yeah,
that. I think
exactly.
that's why, because like you need to rinse yourself off.
You need to
So,
rinse yourself off of yourself. And
oh,
there's just like what do you do in a bath? Like I don't want to be sitting alone with my thoughts for that long, like to relax in a bath. I would
yeah.
rather be distracting myself with like reading or TV or just scrolling through Twitters or playing games or something. Like I want to be doing something else if I'm going to be relaxing. I want to do something that is
Hmm.
relaxing by distracting myself. And if I'm in a bath, I don't want to hold a book because what if I drop it? It gets wet. I don't have a TV in my bathroom, so I can't like do anything of that sense. So it's just not conducive to the type of relaxing that I enjoy, which is like more of a distraction than anything else.
I agree. They're definitely not the best. I feel like they need to advance the bath for me to say it would be an enjoyable experience like that.
What is your next level bathtub that would transform it into something enjoyable like that?
See, that actually is a good question. See, I think for me, one, it needs to be longer. Like, even I am not that tall of a dude, and bathtubs are still too short. And they're very much very angular and not comfortable in that way either. So, shape definitely would need to change. I don't mind like sometimes if I want to take a bath, sometimes I'll either like rinse off in the shower first or I'll just accept that I'll rinse off after. So I don't mind that. I don't think you could fix that problem. But at least as
Without
far as making it
fundamentally
like
changing
comfortable
what a
to sit
bath
in.
is.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that's the approach, but at least just making it slightly more comfortable to like fit in would be great.
Okay, so picture this. You know those like you go in an old school McDonald's and they have those like red and yellow cushions on the seats that have that like kind of like glossy like plasticky finish to them and they're kind of soft
Yeah.
and smushy. If you just line your bathtub, so we're talking like a circular, almost like kind of slanted, like ball pit esque shape for your bathtub, lined with those kind of that kind of padding that's kind of glossy and water resistant, so the water's not going to soak into it. So then you've got
Yeah,
like a nice soft and round area for you to relax in water. I think that is a nice fundamental change. Plus, you can make the cushions all sorts of fun colors and
true. Heck, you could even make it like waterbed style. You already got the
ooh,
water.
yeah. Waterbed seems like a natural
That
fit
could
for it.
be, yeah. See, that'd actually be pretty interesting.
Waterbed
I'd
bathtub?
do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the waterbed bathtub. All our
Don't anyone take
tweets.
that from us. We're going to get $1 million off that idea. That is ours. Back away, you
We're
vultures.
Every suite in Goodland features a waterbed bathroom.
Yeah, every house that we build in the valley has one of those in it. So once we finally open it up for travel, you all will be living in the style that we are. We can't wait for it. Okay, Michael, go ahead, give us another one.
Okay. I think one that kind of comes close to this, it's having to do with bathroom and comfort. This one is saying that the bidet is superior to toilet paper.
That's interesting. I have never experienced a bidet before.
Oh, see, I would have thought you would have.
I
Yeah,
wish that I
traveling
have.
to, I
I've
guess
I've been to Paris and I have not experienced
yeah,
a bidet.
I was gonna say, I would have thought that you would have experienced this.
I have not, and I it is one of my lifelong dreams to experience the magic of a
You
bidet.
just want to experience it.
I want to know what it's like. Everyone talks about it all the time. So
What
we're,
what has been your impression from what people have you said people talk about it all the time. What are the things you commonly hear?
I think most people agree it's pretty rad, and most of the time, like when I picture a bidet, most of the time what I'm picturing is like the tushy, like that the tushy bidet, the a toilet attachment. I know that I think traditionally a bidet is like a little mini sink next to the toilet that you do your business in and then like transfer over to the bidet. Um,
Oh wow, I haven't even heard of that one.
yeah, that's like the OG old school bidet, and it's like a little sink or like a drinking fountain. So you do your biz
Okay.
and then you move over to another appliance. And that
Ah.
like traditional bidet seems uncomfortable and ineffective to me because you got to do your little like squat waddle over to the next appliance, you know?
Yeah, I like the built in to the toilet. That
Yeah,
seems more.
that seems the way to go to me. If it's traditional bidet, that seems very uncomfortable. I don't want to have to like stay squatted as I like side shuffle over to another appliance.
No,
Um,
that doesn't sound fun. Definitely sounds like room for error.
it sounds anxiety inducing. But the built-in Tushy bidet sounds just awesome. Like it just seems rad, and like anything that will prevent me from putting this hand that close to that region of my body, anything that prevents that from being a necessity seems like a good idea to me. Like it just seems like it removes a lot of uh, how do you say this? It removes a lot of unsanitary uh, practice from our lives.
That's true. A lot of it's hands free.
As someone who's never
It's
used a bidet, my biggest question is like, do you dry off after? Or like what's the protocol there? What's the procedure?
That's a good question. I don't I know so I know this there are many different varieties of bidet.
Okay.
That much I do know. So there are some that are super fancy and use like hot there's some that's like hot water, even like you get to adjust the temperature. There's some that like blow you off. Like there so there is some that air dry. I know that.
Ooh, that seems like a nice feature. Um, okay, so I googled it. This says once you have cleaned your genital and anal areas, you dry yourself off. Some bidets have a cloth towel nearby, and then in caps it says, "Do not use. This towel is for drying off your hands only." Most bidets have a built-in air dryer. If the one you're facing does not, use toilet paper. But please, for the love of God, do not use the cloth towel next to the bidet. So
Good to know.
I just I would I think that this entire article was written like this the concept for behind this article being birthed into the aether that is the internet had to do with a poor experience with that very situation.
100%. You know that it did.
Well, I think even as someone who has not used a bidet, I think the concept of it reigns superior. I can't speak with any experience, but just in my brain picture of it alone, it wins out.
Yeah. See, I have had the opportunity, and I agree, much better. Definitely superior. I'm surprised it's not quite like as normal as it is. It's becoming more normal, I think, in the world, but a lot of people are extremely wary of it.
If you are listening, I am currently accepting a donation of a Tushy bidet to attach to my toilet. So, if you feel a spark of generosity in your heart, please don't deprave me of this sensation any longer. Thank you. That is all. Are you ready for
See,
another
they
hot
can
take,
be
Michael?
expensive.
Well, and that's why I don't have
Oh
one.
yeah.
Um, maybe, maybe we'll come across a very, I was gonna say a very well endowed listener, but I meant like wealthy. I meant well endowed in a monetary sense, not in like a.
You know what that means? If someone donates it, you just learned a lot about them.
You can only buy me a bidet if. Would you like another hot take, Michael?
Oh yeah.
This one comes from my father, and
Oh, ooh, let's hear what he has to say.
my dad says that the Hobbit um, is better than the entirety of the Lord of the Rings, and specifically I think he's talking about the books, um, but he says that the Hobbit is better than Lord of
Hmm.
the Rings. I figured you
Hmm.
would have a lot to say on this subject.
Yeah, man. I have certainly read both of them, and I can tell you this, I have read The Hobbit many more times than I've read Lord of the Rings. Partly because it is one adventure done very well within one book. I think as far as like a classic fantasy adventure, The Hobbit is like prime. It is one of the best. I think it has everything you could want in a fantasy adventure. It's incredible. Um, as far as like comparing it to Lord of the Rings, they really are so different. Like we kind of just kind of lump them together, but they really are extremely different. I feel like for me, The Hobbit is like a good novel, and then Lord of the Rings, it's a lot. I need to really want to read them just because like Tolkien just does such a good job writing, like almost too good.
Hmm.
Like he'll go on some tangents, whether it's 5 pages to describe a song that some elves are singing, or the ways the trees look. He goes on some tangents, but The Hobbit is just like concentrated adventure and fantasy.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely am pro Hobbit. Like you, I have read The Hobbit many more times than I've read Lord of the Rings. I've only got all the way through the Lord of the Rings once, um, and it was like a task to do. Um, I the part that always stands out to me is when he has Gimli explaining each mountain inside of the mountain range and like naming each individual mountain inside of the mountain range, and I was just like, bro, why? Like, what is this? What does this give to the
Hmm.
plot? And I guess that's the biggest thing is like, Lord of the Rings has a lot of stuff that doesn't. It feels like it doesn't directly address like the plot of the novel, which isn't like
Hmm.
necessary by any means to be a good story. A lot of stuff. It definitely goes to our building our understanding of the world. Um, but
Yeah, well, I think that's a good distinction. Is I think Lord of the Rings is very much like world building, and The Hobbit is like storytelling.
Yeah,
I
I
think
can see
I
that.
think that might be like a good distinction. Both are telling stories, obviously, but Lord of the Rings definitely focuses on that quite a bit.
And another thing that I'll give to Lord of the Rings, and it's extensiveness, its dedication to making sure you understand the subject matter.
It
Um,
is impressive.
it feels like you get to know the characters a lot more. Like Hobbit is shorter than the three Lord of the Rings books, obviously, so you don't
Hmm.
spend as much time with the characters. Um, but I feel like especially with the dwarves, um, I could not name you all of the dwarves in Bilbo's adventuring party. I could name every
Yeah,
member of the
no,
Fellowship. And granted, there are less members of the Fellowship, but I also feel like I know the members of the Fellowship better than I know any of the dwarves.
that is a good point. Yeah, it's very. I think that's another thing that makes Lord of the Rings certainly more like extensive in pretty much every way. Is The Hobbit is very much a story from Bilbo's point of view. It's just kind of one person's viewpoint of this story, whereas Lord of the Rings, you get to see viewpoints from almost every member of the party. We get to even when you get into the Two Towers, and you know when we get into all of that, it's split between multiple different characters, and tells each one of their stories. We even get to hear the story of Treebeard. We get to hear the story of so many different characters as opposed to just kind of the one perspective. So I think that is probably another good distinction between the two of them.
Yeah, it almost in that sense, it's almost more of like an anthology than a isolated story. It's like a
Yeah,
collection of stories that are all building toward the same climax, but like there it gets to a point where it's like two separate adventures. Like as Bilbo and Sam are going toward Mordor on their own, Aragorn and Legolas are trying to track down Merry and Pippin. And it's like two completely different adventures in
yeah, and
one
they're
book
going on
series.
their own things too.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, and then
entirely separate
Gandalf's off
stories.
doing something.
Yeah, yeah, it's completely different.
So
The fact that those were adapted into movies is insane when you think about it in that sense. Like that there's so many different stories going on at the same time that are loosely connected but not
mhm.
necessarily linked all together. The fact that those were adapted successfully into movies is insane. I do not envy Peter Jackson for
Yeah.
having to put that together.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that certainly there's probably a lot more Peter Jackson could have done. Obviously, he had so much material, but as far as book to movie conversions, that will always be one of the tops in my mind. It was just incredible.
Yeah, I think they handled it super well. It was really impressive for what they had to work with because there was so much to work with, having to whittle it down into what it was. And I say whittle it down into we know that they're like 3 hour movies, so to think that like it could have been so much more. Although I will never forgive him for the exclusion of Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, that was pretty important and wasn't there.
But they were
At
still
least
great.
give us the 6 hour cut, Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
Give it to us. We're ready.
maybe we'll get a series on Amazon Prime. They're already doing a Lord of the Rings series, but if we can just
True.
get a true one-to-one conversion of the Lord of the Rings books, that would be pretty rad
We'll take it.
and really hard to watch. Do you have another one? Another hot take that
Oh
Lord of the
yeah.
Rings was mine. Let's hear another one from you.
Yeah, this one also kind of has to do with movies. Um, but this is that 3D movies were never that good.
Ooh, all right. Yeah, no, I can. I feel like I'm not giving these a fair shake just based on my personal experiences, but I guess that's what a hot take is, right? I am not a fan of 3D movies because I wear glasses.
Yeah, true.
But also, I agree, 3D is a weird gimmick. Like, it's not really ever immersive. Like, watching a movie in 3D never really feels like I'm there more so than a regular movie does. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's not as immersive as it might seem.
Especially back when we were younger, when it was still red and blue 3D,
Yeah,
like that
isn't
that
that crazy that that's what our 3D was?
that never looked good because everything was red and blue.
hmm I remember the very first 3D movie I watched was Spy Kids 3. Or I think that's the video game one. Whichever one that one is, that was my first 3D movie that I watched with the good old red and blue glasses.
And they couldn't even do it for the whole thing. It would like pause the movie and it would say, "Put on your glasses now,"
Yeah,
and then you'd put them on,
that's right.
and it would like do a 3D gimmick, and it'd be like, "Okay, take them off now so you can watch the movie."
That's right. I forgot how they split it up that way.
Yeah, that blew chunks. That was like that was nowhere near immersive. That wasn't even pretending to be. But as
Yeah.
like I saw Doctor Strange in IMAX when it came out, and that was pretty
hmm
cool.
I saw, I think Hunger Games. That's one that I've seen in IMAX 3D.
I think if you're gonna see 3D, you either should watch in real D, just like regular movie vision, or you should go to IMAX because IMAX is really where you're gonna get the most bang for your buck. If you're gonna pay more to go to a 3D movie anyway, you may as well get IMAX because at least it's decent.
I agree. That one's pretty good.
But I would still rather watch a movie just regular. Just give me, instead of the 3D gimmick, I like the gimmick of giant movie theaters where the screen is just massive and like kind of curved, and like that's what I like. Instead of investing into 3D, invest into really really big movie theaters. That's way cooler to me.
That's good.
I like the
I'll
supersized
ask you.
theaters.
I'll ask you this. I agree with what you're saying. You currently have a curved monitor screen.
Hmm.
Now, I've seen people, and I've watched movies on curved TV screens, like just huge curved TV screens. How viable do you think it would be to have like a curved IMAX experience? Do you think that would add anything to it?
I think modern IMAX screens are curved. I think they have a
Are they?
I think they have a bit of curve to them. Um, and if they don't, they should.
Okay.
I think it's super
I was gonna
viable.
say increase it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the curve is great. Like when I load up a game on my curved monitor, it feels good. Now, I think it might be overstated. Like people, especially like the companies who are selling you the monitors, are going to overstate it. I don't think it's necessarily like it's so much more like they're like it's going to immerse you in the game so much more. I don't think that's necessarily true because it's not like VR. It's not like it takes up your whole field of vision. But I do think just
hmm
something about the way that it, especially in a game where you can like see a horizon, the way that it just curves the horizon just a bit to make it look that much more real is pretty neat. So I'm definitely for it.
Yeah.
I'm for the curve.
That's good. Yeah, I know like I just looked up the good old IMAX theater that you and I went into, like as growing up, the one in Boise, and they are not showing one 3D movie. So I remember a time when that was pretty much like all IMAX did was pretty much all of it was all 3D.
Yeah, weird. I
But now,
can't I can't imagine why you would go to IMAX without the IMAX 3D.
yeah.
I guess it would just be for the big screen and the like the
Yeah,
surround sound
just the
that it
big
has.
screen.
Weird. I guess they use special cameras too, so it's supposed to be like
Yeah.
crisper or whatever. But yeah, I think 3D is a gimmick, and it's not that cool. If you're gonna do it, go IMAX.
Yeah. All right, do
Okay.
you have some good ones to end us on?
Yeah, I do. I feel bad because I'm not gonna get to everybody. Um,
I know we this definitely may be something that might have to be split up
yeah, I
for sure because
I
we've
definitely
gotten
am gonna.
some good responses.
I'm definitely gonna come up short, and I feel bad because people were pretty excited to send these to me. Um, Okay, I've got a good one. Alexis Williams says Jar Jar isn't annoying. He's sweet and endearing.
Say that again.
Jar Jar Binks is not
Jar Jar.
annoying. He's sweet and he's endearing.
Man, what a sentence.
Give us your take us back to your first time consuming the media that is the Phantom Menace, and give me your raw from the heart thoughts about Jar Jar Binks.
Man, raw from the heart thoughts on Jar Jar Binks. I definitely did not hate him. I feel like the hate for Jar Jar Binks has increased through time. At least maybe that's because I was a kid watching it, and maybe Jar Jar was a little bit closer to my target audience. But I definitely didn't like hate Jar Jar Binks. There are definitely times where I thought he was annoying, but like never was I like, oh man, Jar Jar Binks is ruining this. I don't know. I don't know if I could say I ever thought of him as endearing, but definitely didn't like dislike him too hard.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am not anti Jar Jar. Um, I think I'm pretty Jar Jar neutral. I would say. Um,
Jar Jar neutral.
the episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars where Jar Jar is like the main focus of them, there are a few where he is the main focus of them. Those episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars usually get a skip on my rewatch. Um, but as far as like him as a character goes,
Yeah.
I'm not too I'm not too concerned. I think he's fine. There are a lot of nerds, and this is a good segue into another one that I have. Um, this is by Ashley Johnson, and she has a pretty solid take on fandom and like Star Wars kind of specifically. She said, "I love Star Wars just as much as the next guy, but I do not love the toxic fans that try to push their opinions of the franchise onto her." Um, she says that a lot of people feel the need to kind of mansplain Star Wars every time it comes up, and she says that when it comes down to it, her hot take is that toxic fans need to be called out and shut down no matter the franchise. You are not the author or the screenwriter, so you can't change what is done. And I think that is a brilliant take because a lot of, and like with the super supreme Jar Jar haters, they're people who think that Star Wars is something that is like untouchable and something like there's some like written rule code that if you break it, it's no longer Star Wars anymore. And I don't think that's true. I love Star Wars to death. I love it so much. I love everything about it. And I love everything that is Star Wars. And I don't think that throwing Jar Jar in to make the kids laugh during the Phantom Menace is bad. I don't think it tarnishes Star Wars at all because there isn't
Hmm.
like Star Wars isn't necessarily something that can be tarnished. Like it's not something that is so holy and untouchable that it cannot be manipulated, that there cannot be new or different things added to it. I think if things stay the same, if every movie was Empire Strikes Back, then it would just get old. The fact that we're trying new things, though some of them may not stick, Jar Jar isn't like an all-out winner, but the fact that we're willing to try new things like Jar Jar, I think is good for Star Wars because it allows us to break into new and more exciting territory.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, you really can't please everyone. And I feel like um it's good for a franchise, especially one that is as old and large as Star Wars. It's good for it to adapt and find its, you know, the, the good medium spot, that good in between. Like I feel like it's very good. I've really enjoyed like some of the new movies, like certainly some aren't my favorite, but like in each one there's always like, oh man, I really enjoy this scene, I like this story writing aspect, and to me that's good enough. I don't need to love the whole entire movie. I feel like it'd be unfair to ask that you know so I really do I'll find the things that I enjoy, relish in them, and then besides that, that's okay. So I agree. Like, I really don't like that people just over explaining Star Wars or really any franchise and then, hating on it because it's changing or not what it used to be. I very much disagree with that. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I guess for one thing, I guess I would say that as a Star Wars fan, maybe I'm lucky that there hasn't been anything that I've seriously disliked. Um,
Yeah,
maybe
that's true.
maybe I'm lucky that a little more open-minded and willing to accept these new changes because it allows me to continue enjoying this thing that I love. It honestly must suck to be one of those original trilogy purists who thinks that everything that has come after the original trilogy sucks and tarnishes the name of Star Wars. It probably blows to have that mindset because you can't enjoy this thing that you love so much. So maybe I'm just lucky, or maybe people just need to chill out a bit. I don't know what the answer is here, but I know
Hmm.
that I like Star Wars.
Yeah, so do I. I just can't imagine putting that much energy into like hating something that I love, or once loved. So,
Yeah, it's definitely
or
way more.
making it an uncomfortable experience for others, certainly. Like, I want other people to experience the good things.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too. Like even if there was something that I didn't like, I know for a fact that I would not be going out of my way to antagonize those who did enjoy it because like good for them.
Hmm.
Good for them for being able to find joy in something because there are a lot of people who aren't able who aren't able to find joy in things. And so to those who can enjoy things and have fun, like good on you. You're doing it right because you are I think that's part of why we're here, right? Is to have fun and find things that we like. And so to those who are able to chase that bliss, like good for you. You're winning at life. Well, I think that we have certainly discussed some hot takes. Um, I I was kind of hoping that we would disagree on some so that we could like have a little bit of a debate. But I think
Hmm.
as we learned from our Goodlywed game episode, we're pretty much on the same wavelength about most things.
That is true. Same wavelength, and I think a lot of hot takes are really just someone having the courage to say something others don't.
Yeah, we all feel the same way. You just stepped up to say it. So good
Yeah.
on you guys. Um, if you guys have any more hot takes after listening to this, if we have sparked some in you, certainly let us know down in the comments of the YouTube video or on our socials at Goodland Pod on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. You can leave it that video where I asked for them is still available on TikTok, so feel free to jump into those comments and give us some more. We certainly will probably revisit this because I have plenty that were submitted that we didn't get to. And I would love to do more kind
Yeah.
of audience submission episodes in the future. And again, if you have any ideas for future Goodland episodes, be sure to let us know. Um, I know that we had a request for another Goodlywed game, um, so we'll have to bust another one of those out. Um,
Yeah. Might need to get one moderated.
I would
Might
love
need
to
to
do
get
that.
a,
If
a
you would like
judge.
to be our game show host for an episode of the Goodlywed game, let us know. Um, we would love to have a host on to moderate that for us. I think that'd be fun. Um, but for sure, reach out to us. Thank you so much for coming to the Valley and checking us out. It means the world to us that you're taking the time to listen to our show. Shout out to our good friends Tanner Behunin and Trevor Ball. Um, we have learned that
They're the best.
they are avid listeners and connoisseurs of Goodland. So thank you guys for coming and supporting us every week. It means the world to us. Same to Spencer Sparks and Andrew Shank. I know they tune in to a good chunk of these as well. So thank you guys for supporting us like that. It really means the world to us. And to everyone else who is listening, just because I didn't name you by name doesn't mean we don't love you so much. So thank you for listening. Be sure to let others know about Goodland so that they can experience the good vibes too. And Let's see. What else do I usually say? It's been a week. I'm a little off my game. Michael, do you have anything else to add here as we wrap up?
What was that?
Do you have anything else to add here as we
Oh,
wrap up?
no, this has been great. I mean, it's so good just being able to do things centered around those who are listening. So if you are listening and haven't told us you're listening, please do so. One, we can give you a shout out, and two, it just makes us even happier. So if you're listening to this or anyone, let us know. Make our day.
That is very true. It totally does make our day to know that you're out there supporting us. Um, and on that note, everyone, this has been Goodland, and I'm glad you're alive.